Welcome, and thank you so much for joining us today for the very first edition of the Ladies of Success Interviews with the Author. I am so excited to have with us today my mentor and newest member of the Success family, Mrs. Rita Davenport. Rita, you have a brand new book coming out in November, Funny Side Up. Tell us a little bit about the book and a little bit about yourself, too, for those audience members that don't know you.
Well, thank you, and I'm honored to be your mentor because I'm very impressed with you. The book is just to remind people about the importance of a sense of humor, and it's anecdotal, and I tell different stories about my background. I grew up in the South, and as you probably can tell, I tease people that I'm bilingual. I speak two languages, English and Southern, but was raised in poverty. And that was a gift because it's made me appreciate even more accomplishment today. And I think that the importance of the sense of humor, of course, first of all, laughter is therapeutic, but it's even fun to smile around people that don't like you because that really throws them off. They don't know exactly what's up. And also smiling, you know, if you're worried about wrinkles, if you smile a lot and move your head, they don't show near as much. Actually, Phyllis Diller taught me that, but it's the truth. So it is important. And you know, when situations and circumstances happen, you got a choice. You can laugh or you can shut down. So I've learned to make myself be more engaged in humor because it does make you feel better. It's healthy and you're more optimistic and you accomplish more when you have a sense of humor.
Rita, we have some of the other ladies with success here, and Susan Kane, our editor-in-chief of Success Magazine, has some questions for our readers.
So, you know, one of my favorite parts of the book was the part where you said when you have a real sense of purpose, a real sense of mission, it's sort of like when you need to go to the bathroom desperately and you're in a crowd. But you know, I feel like for success readers, that's exactly where many of them are. They really have this burning sense of purpose. Where do they go from there? How do you take the next few steps are the hardest?
Well, first of all, I do think the world steps aside, Susan, for the person that knows where they're going. And you can decide to lead, follow, or just get out of the way in life. But I think that certainly, in my estimation, it is easier for us that are our own purpose to become successful because most people don't know what they want. Most people are just kind of wandering aimlessly around, letting people tell them what to do. So when I have, you know, admitted to myself that I am a very committed and determined and ambitious person, people say, well, you know, what about the competition? Well, it's not that much because not everybody wants it as bad as you do. So when you realize that desire is the seed of greatness for all this, and it changes everything about you when you're on purpose. Right. So I do see that people react and, you know, they step aside when you know where you're going.
Right.
And the bathroom's a good example.
So you think people take steps on their own as soon as that's what you have to do, well, and then people start to...
Yeah, it's when you decide, and you have to decide, but it's kind of an illumination. What you're supposed to do, what you can do, what you're committed to do and want to do. Then you become passionate. People say, do you get passionate and then get successful? No, you get passionate about something you're doing and success will gravitate to you as a result of that. So it's always been that way, and I've always felt that just, you know, go after what you want and it will all, people will follow along behind you if you set the leadership example.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, good example.
Will you tell the story about your son and the skating party?
Oh, third grade son is going to a skating party, and on the way there he says, Mom, I'm going to ask little Nicole to skate with me. Well, have you seen these little third grade hussies? I mean, they wear earrings, high heels, you know, it drive mother crazy. And I thought, oh, if he gets rejected, it's going to make him weird the rest of his life. And I thought, you know, what's that little hussy going to say to my son? So when I went to pick him up, I said, well, Scott, did you ask little Nicole to skate with you? And he said, yeah. And I said, what'd she say? And my heart was beating. And, oh, Mom, she said yes. And I said, Scott, to prepare him, there's going to be rejection. There's going to be some little girl that, you know, says no when he asks her to dance or skate. Scott, how would you have felt if she had said no? I'll never forget how he looked. He kind of flipped his hair and he said, well, Mama, there's 17 other girls in my class. What a powerful example. Next, learn the four-letter word next, whether it's in sales, relationships, whatever, next. And I'll never forget that. 17 other girls in his class. Look how many millions of people that are in this country right now that haven't bought my book. Next.
So Rita, you mentioned self-talk in the book. How does that work?
You know, we have 86,400 seconds every day, and we do talk to ourselves a lot, and most of it's negative, unfortunately. But I have reminded myself, and I say cancel, cancel, when I catch myself running myself down, as I tend to do. And Dr. Shadhelmstetter, a dear friend, wrote a book called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. Changed the world because people started realizing how important their self-talk, what they say. And as I taught my kids, you know, somebody can say, you know, fatty, fatty 2x4, you can't get through the door. Say, well, I'm still a worthwhile person. No matter what you say or do to me, I'm still a worthwhile person. Oh, you're stupid. No matter what you say or do to me, I'm still a worthwhile person. Over and over again. Because for every minute you spend with a negative thought, it takes 100 minutes to erase it. So look how far behind we are right now. And to see people remind themselves, good job, I did a good job. That is important because it affects your behavior. So just listen how many times you say, you know, I got thighs that would feed a family of 5, you know, and the cellulite looks like hail damage. That's what they call it in Oklahoma. But, you know, you run yourself down so much, you get used to it. So start saying, give yourself a break once in a while and brag on yourself. I did my best. Yeah, it works.
So I'm just starting out in my career, and I hear that you are a master of networking. So what are some networking tips that you can share with us?
Well, first of all, honestly, your net worth is a direct result of your network. And you got to be working on that all the time. You got to be, because there's just 6 degrees of separation among all of us. And you meet the same people going down, you meet going up. So you need to be kind to everybody because somebody knows somebody, no matter what. And I really think that networking to me is looking at people and not seeing dollar marks, but seeing, you know, an opportunity that make me feel important concept. And I love to talk to people, and I love to meet people, and I love to, you know, find out about people. I always, you know, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, which means we're supposed to listen twice as much, and just ask people, you know, where do you see yourself in 5 years? What would you like to do? What do you like about your job? What would you like to do different? Have you ever thought about being able to travel more? And asking them about their dreams and hopes and desires, and then how that they could maybe work with you and what you could do for them. You know, in networking, Aristotle Onassis said if he had his life to live over again, he'd do one thing different. He said, I'd hang around rich people sooner. He said, because rich people throw away more ideas in a day's time about how to earn money than a poor person ever has. Every day, and I do try to do this, call an old friend, call someone you just met, and reach out to a family member and just connect. 30 seconds, just how you doing, wanted to, you know, stay in touch, but always be actively engaged in communication with these people. You never know. You never know.
Smart,
it really is, it's so important, and it's helped me in my life so much to be a networker. It's very important.
So I just love this part of the book where you give a quote and it's, I'd rather wear out than rust out. And I feel like that totally applies to me because I'm just starting out in the working world, in the professional world, and I just want to take on everything and tackle every single challenge that there is. So how do I know what to focus on that's most important so that I can succeed at everything I do?
Well, you learn to set your priorities, and that's personal. It's been easy for me because, to be honest, God's first and my family second, my career's third. And I have been teased that, you know, I'm like the Energizer Bunny, that I'm always working. And I say to people that, you know, you only have so many springtimes in your life, and you want to do as much as you possibly can do in this world. And you're here to learn, and you're here to love. And that kind of makes it simple. But I think that just realizing to do what you can do with what you have to work with, and help other people. Look at everybody that's around you and just say, what can I do that would make a difference in this person's life? And realize that everybody's got a little visible sign on them. It says, make me feel important. And you can do that. And you're a very talented person. And allow yourself to use that passion and that energy, and you'll feel so much better about yourself when you accomplish something that makes a difference in somebody else's life. So congratulations for being that way.
Oh, you're too kind.
These are life's principles that the best way, I think, to learn something is to teach it. And I've been teaching. I've been a social worker and a teacher, and I've been in broadcasting and then speaking and writing. And, you know, speaking is the #1 fear in the world. Right. According to David Wallenchinsky, that wrote the book of lists, I had dinner with him one night at Vanderbilt, and he said, you're a speaker. He said, that's #1 fear in the world. And I had to ask him, what's #2? He said, death by fire. And I said, okay, what's number 3? And he said, death by cancer. I said, so people would rather burn to death than do what I do for a living. So that kind of puts it in perspective. And people say, do you get nervous? And well, sort of, but I heard a study that said out of your average audience, about 11% is not even listening. Somebody drug them in, they didn't want to go. And about 28% is worried about something else. And about 30% is interested, and the rest are having sexual fantasies. So I figured everybody's going to have a good time no matter what I say. So I just sort of enjoy it, you know, and kind of watch the ones that are having more fun than others. But because it is fearful to be a speaker, but you get over it after a while.
Is it true what they say that it helps if you imagine the audience is naked?
That's a sexual fantasy part.
Right. Right.
Okay.
You know, I've never done that. What
Don't start it right now.
What kind of groups are you thinking I should be speaking to?
It's just what I've heard. It always seemed odd to me.
I know. I don't do that.
I read in the book that one of your kind of signature questions was, what do you think made you successful? So I ask you, what do you think made you successful?
Malnutrition. I was afraid I was going to starve to death. I really did think I'd end up homeless or something because I was around a lot of poverty. And I was just really afraid of, my grandpa was on old age assistance and I didn't understand. He was a sharecropper, but he worked hard. And everybody felt sorry for him. And I said, Grandpa, when you were a young man, have you ever noticed how close grandkids are to their grandparents? It's because they share a common enemy. But I said, it's true. I said, Grandpa, because I knew he wasn't a bum, lazy. And I said, when you were a young man, where'd you think you'd end up? And he thought about it a while. He was in overalls, smoking a corncob pipe on a rocking chair in College Grove, Tennessee. I can still hear the creaking. And he said, Sugar, I expected I'd be on old age assistance, which was like welfare. I realized as a little girl, I'm going to end up where I expect. So I started raising my expectations, and it bothered a lot of people. My family used to say, don't try to get above your raising, and don't get your hopes up. And I tell people, you know, it costs nothing to dream, but everything if you don't. Mm-hmm. And I think it's important to not only raise your expectation, but raise the expectation of people around you, because people live up to that expectation. It's important that they feel that. So I'm always making people aware of their greatness and what they can do and what they ought to do and what they would benefit from doing. So that's what my role in life is.
Rita, we have a lot of people that go to success, entrepreneurs. They're looking for something specific to help them grow. So what would you say the audience is for your book? What are people going to get from reading it?
First of all, belief in themselves, success strategies, how to network, how to be able to use your talent and realize that you have greatness. Because I feel like that it captures the information kind of step by step, how to connect the dots to become successful, and how to realize your potential, your greatness, and then how to go forward and how to have determination and the persistence and never give up and understand what failure is and understand about problems and all the things that we go through, and then get a different perspective about those things. And I think it gives you courage, and I'm hoping that's what it does.
Rita, what is your definition of success?
I think a success is living your life the way you choose and knowing when to let go of things that aren't working anymore. Because if you keep on doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep on getting what you've been getting. If what you get is not what you want, then you should do something else. And I also think that sometimes we have to be mindful that we're capable of success. And it is a responsibility when you realize that. So I think that oftentimes we don't realize, and I say, success isn't just about money. Money is not everything, but it is right there with oxygen. Because I've been in poverty and I've been blessed, and I know the difference, and I'm grateful. But I think success is personal. I think that if you're able to raise a family and you have wonderful children, that's the greatest success, first of all. Mm-hmm. And if you're ever able to commit to helping other people, that's a success. But success is having choices. We all have a choice right now to be here. That's success.
Yeah. How did we get so lucky that success got you?
Susan, I value and respect what success does and how it's helped me in my life. Going through the airport, grabbing Success magazine and devouring it, because that's the way you can learn about people's success and what they've done, and be a part of that. And what you have done, you've raised the bar for all publishing, in my opinion, because there's a lot of garbage out there. I don't mean to be so negative, excuse me for that, but there's a lot of stuff that you just waste your time. People, unfortunately, gravitate to that way too much, the sensational stuff, the scandalous stuff. But in Success, for some reason, I've always been attracted to it, and it seemed to have taught me so much. But your magazine makes such an impression on people, and it's a healthy kind of ideas of what people have overcome and what they can do, and it raises the bar for everybody. But it's therapy to read it for me. It really is, because I think that if everybody looked more to success in this world and read more about it, they would become more successful than a lot of things they can waste their time with. And I'm not just saying that. I mean, before I ever knew any of you, I am such a fan of Success, and the audio tapes, the videos, all the things that you do. You're on a mission in this world to change the world one person at a time. And you can't read a Success magazine and not be better. You just can't. You just weren't paying attention if that's not true.
That means so much
But
to
it's
us.
true.
Thank
I mean, you do know this,
That's
don't
a
you?
cry.
It's remarkable what you do, and I'm so grateful, and I understand why you're so popular and how you've been able to grow in any economy. But my hat's off to you, and thank you for what you've done for me, and I hope to carry on the Success banner and in any way I can with what you're doing.
Rita, you know, in reading the book, you have some challenges that you've had to overcome in life, and one was your house got struck by lightning and it burnt down.
It was a total loss, yeah. And we were out of town when it happened, but when we got back home, and you see, you know, first of all, the firemen, they are really cute. In fact, I have such crushes on firemen. I was
So
calling
you're
3 or 4.
wishing that another one burns down.
I kept calling down to the fire hall, saying, it's still smoking, send those good-looking boys over here. But when you see all your stuff, you realize it's just stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, I like to say that, you know, everything we have is on loan anyway in our life, but I've never seen a hearse with a U-Haul behind it. And everything we've got, someday somebody's going to make fun of it, or it's going to be passed on, or, you know, it just don't have attachment to material things. And nobody was hurt. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness, I was just so grateful that no one was hurt, and I just put everything in perspective. And it was really funny. I had a lot of the damage was smoke damage, of course, and I used to have a plaque on my front door, and it says, "The Davenports thank you for not smoking." This was God's sense of humor. My house was just totally toast. But you always look for the good thing. And in fact, we've been in that house 28 years, and I wanted a new house, and my husband refused to move. So what God did, he just burnt it down. I got a new house. But you just have to say, what's the gift here? And the gift was I got a new house, totally new house, same location.
Rita, thank you so much for being here. It was such a pleasure. I know all of us just love you, and we are so excited for the new book and being your publisher. And for all you viewers out there, Rita's book, Funny Side Up, comes out in early November. You can pick it up on success.com. Until next time, much success.